Hello, everyone. This is Dale C. Washington of Greater Works, Prophetic Ministry, and Raw. It is Sunday, August 17th of 2025, and I'm back to share another quick release with the people of God on tonight. This is something that I don't want to hold on to, and so I'm going to go ahead and release this. So the title is Airbnb, and this is a prophetic dream about Marcus Rogers. All right. Airbnb is the title the Lord gave me. I received this dream from the Lord on Thursday morning, August 14th of 2025, and that was shortly after I had recorded and published a video title Beyonce's Inner Chambers, and that was a dream. Okay, so not many hours after I went to bed from recording that on Thursday morning, the Lord gave me this dream about Marcus Rogers that I'm about to share with you all. All right, if you have not seen the video, the previous one right before this one, Beyonce's Inner Chambers, please view that video on this platform. Okay, I see that something is going on with my channel. It has been for a very long time where my videos are not being circulated among the general audience of YouTube. Okay, so I want to say something about the timing of this dream that the Lord gave me on the 14th of August. Because the video I published about the dream about Beyonce was published on the 14th of August. Okay, so let me say something about the timing. The timing in which the Lord gave me this dream about Marcus Rogers made me think that there is some sort of connection between Marcus and Beyonce. Okay, one connection that I know of is witches in high places. Okay, witches in high places. Okay, so I've had several dreams about Marcus Rogers over the years that I have not told about. Okay, quite a few dreams. And the few dreams and messages that I did share about Marcus, I meant every word of what I said in those videos because every word was true. Okay, so the timing of this was so mind-blowing to me. Right after I released the video about the dream I had about Beyonce, this was almost unbelievable. A few hours later, here the Lord is showing me this dream about Marcus Rogers. So I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Lord wanted me to release this dream and release it now. Okay, this dream may sound strange. It sounds strange to me, but it is not. I started to say it's not far-fetched from some other things that God has shown me in the past. I will say this. Once I tell you all this dream, there is another dream that the Lord gave me and showed me about Marcus Rogers in 2020 that I did not release. And there's a certain part of the dream from 2020 that I think somehow fits into this dream. So I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to share the dream from 2020. That dream was it was sort of complicated, and I attempted to share it more than once, but I never did. So just want to put that out there because once I do share that particular dream, I am going to link the two dreams together. That one from 2020 along with this one. Okay. Something about this dream reminds me of something the Lord showed me back in 2020. Okay. All right. Again, the title is Airbnb, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the dream. And the dream started with me. I approached Marcus Rogers about something, or I confronted him about something, and I don't know what that thing was. All right. Marcus's demeanor seemed aggressive and sort of threatening towards me. Okay. And I do want to say in this dream, I do believe I'm representing someone else. Okay. So he seemed kind of aggressive and threatening toward me. And Marcus began raising his voice a little, not a lot, but he began to raise his voice a little, and he was saying, "What can I smell? What can I smell?" And as Marcus was saying this, I'm going to switch pictures. As Marcus was saying this, he began taking off layers of mass. Okay. Now that picture, I got that picture off of Google. To my knowledge, that's not Marcus, but I thought that was a good resemblance of him in a way. Okay. So Marcus began to say, after I approached him, he said, "What can I smell? What can I smell?" And he began to take off mass. The strange thing about this scene, this part of the dream, is when I first approached Marcus, I didn't notice a mask. I really don't know what he had on, but I didn't notice the mask until he began to take them off. Okay. It was as if Marcus, he took off more than one mask. Okay. Like layers and layers of mask is what he began to take off when I approached him. Okay. This is a picture of someone with more than one mask on. Okay. So he took off, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5 layers of mask. That seems kind of crazy, but that's how the dream was. He just kept peeling off layers of mask. So when he was kind of yelling, saying, "What can I smell? What can I smell?" It was as if Marcus was assuring me, or he was showing me proof that he couldn't smell anything because of all the mask that he was wearing. He couldn't smell anything. Okay. Now, after that, the scene switched. Okay. The scene switched. So I want to say something about this before I tell you the next scene in the dream. I can't say that one of the masks he was wearing was a gas mask. I can't say that because I don't remember if one of the masks he took off was a gas mask. Okay. He may have had on some, hardware piece of contraption similar to this, but I don't remember it being like that. I just remember him just peeling off layers and layers of face masks. Okay. But they were some very good face masks. They were not the flimsy kind. Marcus Rogers' face, his nose and his mouth area, I think, was very well covered. They were not the little cheap flimsy masks. Okay. All right. So to the next scene. So the next scene was, now I see Marcus with 2 other men. All 3 of them had agreed on some sort of suicide pact, or they were on some type of suicide mission. Okay. Very strange dream. I understand it's very strange. Okay. But this is what I saw. Okay. All 3 men, they began to position themselves on the floor of whatever this room or this place was. I don't know what this room was. I don't know where this place was. All I know is after I confronted Marcus and he was peeling off all the layers of mask, and after he said what he said, the scene switched. And it's like I'm in there in the same room, okay, close up. So now all 3 of them, they began to position themselves on the floor. And let's say that this one person right here is, let's say that's Marcus. Okay. So then there was another guy laying next to Marcus, I would say on the right side of that picture, on the other side of Marcus. Then the third guy would have been laying at the foot of them. Okay, I have another photo, but I couldn't find a photo that fit the pattern how they were all laying. So as you see all three of them laying like that, well, Marcus and the other guy was laying kind of next to each other. And one guy, the guy that was lying down on the same side as Marcus, he was like a little bit further up ahead of Marcus, but laying in the same position. The third guy would have been at the foot of them, and so the third guy, his feet would have been facing Marcus and the other guy that was laying side by side. Okay, so that's the best way that I can describe it. So, okay, so once they all positioned themselves and they were laying down, a chemical substance someone started spraying a chemical substance. A chemical substance was sprayed, okay? And it seems like it was sprayed by one of the men that was laying on the floor. But it didn't seem like Marcus was the one that sprayed it. I really don't know who, but I think it was one of the men began to spray a chemical substance over them, over all three of them, okay? So as this was happening, I'm gonna try to describe what I heard the men thinking to themselves, because the Lord allowed me to hear what the men were thinking. I don't think they were speaking this or whispering this. I think I was hearing them thinking. I was hearing their thoughts. Also, I want to say that in some way, it seemed as if the men were covered by something before the chemical spray was released. Okay, that's just how it seems. It seems like there was some type of covering over them. And I don't know if part of that covering was face mask or what, because I don't know, but it seems like there was some sort of covering there on them somehow. I don't know if it was just on their face or on their body, but that's how it seemed. And that it's like a covering was there before the spray started being sprayed. Okay, so now let me tell you what I was hearing all three. I was kind of hearing all three of the men's thoughts, but the two men other than Marcus were the first thoughts that I was hearing from the other two men. And it's hard to describe. It was like I was hearing things like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Yeah, we're all dying, all right. Yeah, right. We'll see about that. It's like, I'm not going through with this. It was kind of like I was hearing their thoughts. So because it's hard to describe what I heard the men thinking, I'm going to have to explain it by paraphrasing, okay? So the other two men had planned to trick Marcus, pretending that all three of them were going to die together. But Marcus had a trick for them as well, because Marcus Rogers was not planning to die at all, okay? After the poison or chemical was sprayed, the other two men, not talking about Marcus, but the other two men remained laying on the floor until they thought that Marcus was out for good. They laid there until they thought Marcus was dead. And in the dream, it didn't feel like a long time went by. It just felt everything was very quick. Everything happened very quick. Okay, so it was like minutes later, after they had sprayed, I'm hearing their thoughts saying, yeah, right, not dying. I'm not doing this. I'm not. And Marcus basically was thinking the same thing because he wasn't planning on dying. So the two guys were trying to trick him, but he had a trick for them as well, as I said. Okay. So by the time the other two men thought that Marcus was dead, those two men began to get up to leave. And as they were about to leave, Marcus jumped up and he began grabbing them. And the dream ended. That's all I remember seeing. Okay, that's it. So, okay. So again, this was August 14th, Thursday morning. So I am just outdone by seeing all of this. I don't know what's going on. And I wanted to try to get this dream done that Thursday night, that Friday. Couldn't get it done. Wanted to get it done last night, which was Saturday night, and I just couldn't. Well, the Lord gave me the title last night, and that's why I did not come forth with the dream last night, because that's when the Lord gave me the title, and I did not fully understand. I didn't fully comprehend the title. When I went in prayer, I was hearing Airborne, and then I was hearing Airbnb. The Lord finally spoke Airbnb. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about the title. Before I tell you guys about the title, as I also don't know, as I said earlier, what Marcus Rogers had on in the beginning of the dream when I confronted him or approached him. But in my mind's eye, I'm seeing it like maybe he possibly may have had on, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing like military attire. He may or may not have had that on in the dream. I didn't see clearly what he had on, but something about this dream has that feel of something about military comrades, or his time in the military, or it may not have been. That's just how it feels to me, especially with the dream from 2020 that I believe is reminding me of this dream. It seems like it could be military type operation, or something that Marcus, I don't know, something that Marcus may be connected to in some way. Okay, so anyway, again, I just wanted to clear that up. This is just how it feels to me, like a military type thing. Okay, so anyway, next, I said I'm going to tell you a little bit about the title. So I didn't do the video last night because I didn't know, what all was in this title. I was hearing and sensing this title meant more than one thing. So when I asked the Lord for the understanding, I heard Airbnb, Airborne, and Banned. Airbnb. Okay, so that stands for Airborne and Banned. So there are actually some more interpretations of Airbnb, and I'm going to share those in a few minutes. But this is the main understanding that the Lord gave me, or the initial understanding. And there is one other interpretation for Airbnb that stood out when the Lord first spoke Airbnb. But I heard in my spirit definitely Airborne and Banned. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read through the rest of my notes, and I'm going to be done with this for tonight, okay? Because this is supposed to be a quick release. Okay, so Airborne and Banned, or I can say Airborne and Airband, but I'll leave it as it is, okay? Airborne and Banned. Airplanes, this is something the Lord told me some years ago. He said, airplanes are the new brooms. Okay, saith the Lord. Airplanes are the new brooms. And there's a lot more that I would like to say about that I don't have the time to get into right now. I tried to tell some things about this in other videos of things that were happening, when stuff was being released in the air, between, I would say, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, the duration of all of that stuff at that time. I have put some things in some videos, but needed to come back and fully explain more, but didn't get a chance to, okay? Airplanes, the Lord said, are the new brooms, okay? And I may have mentioned that in a previous video years ago that the Lord told me that. I'm not sure. When the Lord spoke that to me, I was really... I really didn't want to even tell anybody that the Lord told me that, because I was trying to figure out how is that possible. Okay, so witches are working. In other words, witches are working ground and air. When chemical substances are being released through the air to drug people and make them mentally and physically sick, sometimes to the point of death, that's sorcery. Okay, that's sorcery. Pharmaceuticals released through the air to harm people and also to put people under mind control. All right, that's happening. That is also a reason for pharmaceuticals being released. People are dummied down. People are just walking around like zombies in a daze, and you're wondering what's wrong with people. You look at people and like, what's happening to people is like they look slow. Okay, and all of these mental illnesses being diagnosed and coming upon the population. Okay, so when those things, pharmaceuticals being released to bring people under mind control, that is also witchcraft. That is witchcraft. And remember, in the dream, I said that once Marcus and the other two guys positioned themselves on the floor, a chemical substance was sprayed. And I don't know, I'm just telling the dream as God showed it to me. I don't know why they agreed, or in this dream it was agreed upon that they were going to, this was a suicide pact or a suicide type mission. Because I think if people who have certain professions who handle chemicals, very, very dangerous chemicals, and they have an assignment to do certain things with these chemicals, you can call that a suicide mission in a sense, because they have to be very well covered and protected from these poisonous chemicals that they're in charge of, that they're handling or disseminating, or that they are clearing or doing something with. Okay, all right, so that was about the title, Airbnb, Airborne and Banned. The title is saying there's something that's airborne, something that's being released, but it's banned. Okay, so more about the title. So another interpretation of Airbnb is Airb and Ban. I'm going to say that again. Airb and Ban. Okay, this video, this dream, the Lord gave me this a few hours after I fell asleep from releasing the video about the dream about Beyonce. Airb and Ban, meaning shadow ban videos exposing the truth about Beyonce. Okay, that is part of what's going on. So it's like someone is saying air B, go ahead and air it, but go ahead and shadow ban it. Air it, but shut it down. Air it, but ban it. Air it a little bit, but ban it. Which is Airbnb, which Air B and ban, that's talking about shadow ban. Okay? And I'm starting to think a lot of my videos are shadow ban. But the Lord is going to have what he's showing me and what he's giving me to share from this platform reach who it needs to reach. And I've said this before, the first people to watch my videos are the false prophets. And if y'all think that some of these celebrities are not interested in what's being said about them on social media, you got another thought coming. They are interested in what's being said about them, and they know what's being said about them on social media. Okay, via whomever, okay, and whatever. Also, a lot of local preachers are keeping up with what certain ones of God's true servants are saying and sharing on social media. This is nothing new to me. I've known this for years. I only get a few views, but a whole lot of people know who I am. A whole lot of people are aware of my videos. But to look at the numbers, you would never know that. Okay, so let me move on from Air B and ban, which is shadow ban, these videos that's exposing stuff about Beyonce. Okay, so the third interpretation of Airbnb, air is air, bomb, and blast. All right, air, bomb, and blast. The next one, number 4, interpretation of Airbnb is, and this is referencing Marcus Rogers, okay? You've made your bed in the air. You're a frequent flyer. Marcus Rogers is a frequent flyer. And you literally have an Airbnb in the air, okay? You're a frequent flyer, and you literally have an air bed and breakfast. You're such a frequent flyer that you literally have an air bed and breakfast. Okay? Marcus, let me tell y'all something. I'm going to link the videos, if not tonight, tomorrow, of the videos that in the dreams and visions God has given me to share about Marcus Rogers. And as I said, there's many more, several others that I did not share. Okay? That I did not share. Marcus Rogers, people have been telling y'all who Marcus Rogers is. I've been telling y'all who Marcus Rogers is. Even Marcus has been showing y'all who he really is for a long time. And y'all still keep following after false prophets. The Bible says beware of false prophets. The Bible doesn't say follow false prophets. Even in this photo, Marcus is telling you who he is. And this is my conclusion of Airbnb, Airborne and Banned. Marcus Rogers flies and rides with the Prince of the Air, not the Prince of Peace. Marcus's abode is with the Prince of the Air. All right? Who is the prince of this world. That's where he has made his abode, with the Prince of the Air, the Prince of this world, and not the Prince of Peace. And that's all I have to say about that. Y'all have been warned. This is a warning from God Most High. Yahweh is his name. And that is the conclusion of Airbnb, Airborne and Banned. Have a good night.